Hello and welcome to YQ Academy tutorials. My name is Priyanka and topic for today's discussion is REST operator in JavaScript. REST operator is an improved way to handle function parameter. Let's understand it. So let me declare a function. So I'm using function keyword and I'm taking function name as let's suppose sum, and now let's write few parameters. So I'm taking num1 as parameter 1 and num2 as parameter 2, and let's define the body of the function. So let's say I'm adding the value of num1 and num2. So I'm going to write like num1 plus num2. Now let's call this function. So let's write the function name as sum, that is sum function name. Now let's give the values of num1 and num2. So I'm taking value of num1 as 10 and num2 as 20. Now to see the output in the terminal window, I have to write node and then the file name, that is rest.js, and on clicking the enter button we get the sum of num1 and num2, that is 10 and 20 as 30. But what if we try to pass few more arguments to the function sum? Let's write like 10, 20, 30 and 40. Now let's see the output. But again we get 30 because this function only add first two arguments. So this issue can be solved with REST operator. The sign used for REST operator is three dots. Let me show you how. Let's delete this. Now let's define a function. So I'm using function keyword and then I'm taking function name as let's suppose S. Now I'm using REST operator, so the sign is three dot, and then I'm taking a parameter as S1. Now let's define the body of the function. So I'm writing console.log and let's write S1 over here. Call this function. Here let's give few values. So I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is to show you something that REST operator represent parameter as array. This is how the parameters are represented as an array when we use REST operator. Now let's see a program. We are going to write a program to find out the sum. So let's define a function. I'm using function keyword. I'm taking function name as S, and now I'm using the REST operator and I'm taking the parameter as S1. Now let's define the body of the function. So let's write for loop, and in the for loop add let's print it. Now let's call this function with a few parameters. Now let's see the output. So this is how we can get the sum of the given parameters using REST operator. Let me show you one more example. So let's define a function. This time I'm taking function name as let's suppose person. I will write the parameters later. First, let me write. So these are the values. Now here, let's write. So these are the parameters and I'm using now REST operator. Now let's write the body of the function. So by doing this, the first two parameter will be Harry and 34. Name is Harry and age is 34. And using this REST operator, I'm going to print the remaining elements. So let's see the output. So here we only get New York and developer. Since this name and age is for Harry and 34, I use this rest operator to see the remaining elements as output. So this is how rest operator works in JavaScript.